Rejects.
Hello.
I'm Greg, John.
This is John.
So we're going to be doing a review of the Suicide Squad Extended Edition. But before we go into that, I want to tell you a few things about today's sponsor, Reuters TV.
That's right. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and with so many different outlets and forms of communication, it can be a little overwhelming trying to stay informed and up to date with what's going on in today's world, man.
That's where Reuters TV comes in.
Reuters TV is a new app that will design a custom video news broadcast for you that's tailored to your needs and your schedule.
On the spot.
On the spot!
Just tell the app how much time you have, and Reuters TV will assemble the day's top stories for you from around the world.
The videos work online and offline, so once your video is assembled, you can take it with you wherever you want to go.
Authentic, unfiltered news in a sleek, modern format so you can stay up to date and make your own decisions about this great, big, chaotic world of ours.
You can download the free app today for iPhone and for Android by clicking our special link in the box below. That's app.reuters.tv/TheRealReject.
It's a lot to remember.
A lot to remember, but I remembered it.
So we took the time today to watch the Suicide Squad Extended Edition. Warner Brothers sent that over to us to review, and that'll probably be the last time they send over something to me after what I have to say in this video about the movie. This is the second time I watched it, first time watching the extended cut. First few minutes I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't as bad as I remembered it being, you know? Like, I remembered it being like a fun mess.
Yeah.
Like, I remember it being fun. And still watching it today, I'm like, it's definitely not a boring movie. It's definitely not boring. And that's at least one great credit you can give the film. Will Smith, I think he does a great job. Sure, he's just Will Smith, and whatever. He does a great job as Deadshot, though. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She does a really good job as well. Everything else is kind of flip-flops between good and what is going on.
You know, every time you go back and rewatch a movie, usually things get a little more clear and things smooth out and you kind of catch some of the stuff that you missed. And I was fully expecting that to happen with this. And as the movie got going, like, it does, like, I felt myself feeling that sense of fun early on. Like, I started enjoying myself. And then it all becomes kind of a blur.
Yeah.
You know? It's weird. It's like I still enjoyed it this time, but it didn't come together more.
Yeah.
It kind of came together less.
The film was clearly shot so much stuff, and then they tried piecing all the pieces together in the editing room and tried making something linear and cohesive throughout. Because one thing I could really feel early on with the film was like, one of the biggest flaws is this film just doesn't know how to blend multiple genres together well. Every time they cut to another Suicide Squad member, it's a different genre. And I get what they're doing. Like when they do like Ocean's 11 and they introduce the team and they cut to their backstories or whatever. But they're shot, lit, captured, and tonally so different from each other. Deadshot's background with his daughter, and then the weird, like, everything's so montage throughout.
Well, see that I think that's cool though. Like that's the thing is I get why that's a mess, and I still think it is. But partway through the character intros at the beginning, when they're at least introducing all of the major Suicide Squad characters, like some of those scenes I started to get into the groove of that, where I was like, oh okay, like the June Moon like sequence is all shot like a kooky, like a, you know, imposing sort of horror movie. And like they switch like that, and in the moments where I feel like the movie intended to do that, it works. Like there's some moments where it works, and there's others where it just doesn't. I'm
all for genre splicing, and I don't mind when you shift genres when you're telling backstories and such. Yeah. It just felt like a lot of it doesn't look like it's at all from the same movie. So I think there are movies where you can do genre shifts and genre splicing, and it works great. The problem with Suicide Squad is it all felt like different movies the first like half hour of the film. Things don't start smoothing out a little bit until they finally land into that whatever that city's called again. I just don't.
One of the many abandoned cities of the DCE.
Yeah, when they land that city, then things start smoothing out a little bit. But before, everything leading up to that moment is kind of chaotic and all over the place. And it's like there's so much of the setup is where a lot of my problems come in. A lot of the music choices are sometimes really cool. And a lot of the times it seems like the scene is just not good enough. Like they're not confident enough in the scene doing a good job. So we're going to throw in this song that's going to try to... This song will make you feel like this is cool. But the scene itself is not as cool as the song is making you feel like it is. Like when they threw an Eminem's Without Me song.
Every facet of this movie has that kind of 50-50 thing for me rewatching this. Half the time on this viewing, the movie felt like I was watching one complete movie that then had parts removed, and then they just filled those parts with a bunch of random scenes.
Yeah.
So, like, there are moments, and especially in the extended cut that we just watched, the moments where it's the Suicide Squad together and it's their plot, that stuff actually kind of feels like it's in one movie. And even the way it's captured, even just the quality of the images and stuff like that, fits together in a way that feels like it's in one movie. And then there's all this other stuff. You've got these neon Joker scenes over here, and then you've got these like really CG Enchantress scenes over here, and you've got like these Amanda Waller like boardroom scenes over here. And like you have so many different ideas of the corners of this world, and none of them establish rules ever. And that's what makes the tone shifting jarring, and that's what makes the plot still unclear. Even though you catch everything, like, it's easy for things to feel unclear because everything's just kind of rocketing forward at this steady pace and never stopping to go, but what are the rules and what's it all about? Because that's the big problem for me going back, because there's still lots of fun stuff. The designs are cool, and there are moments. Everybody in this movie has a moment for me where they work, where I get it. Even Jared Leto, who this time I liked him less than the first time, but there are even moments of his where I'm like, this could be great, and there are others where I'm like, this is really bad. And, you know, the whole movie does that for me. So yeah, with the music, it's like there are certain songs that it just feels like after a while, like someone's on a playlist. Like, I feel like I kind of felt like I was watching this movie with a friend who didn't turn the radio down. This movie's kind of like having somebody point your head in many directions. And they're all cool, but you kind of just want to ease into it.
No, that's what I meant by how a lot of it just doesn't blend well together.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It's too fast. It's too scattershot. It's way too all over the place. I really felt like this movie would have been better if they cut out a lot of scenes and just let other scenes play out.
Yeah.
Rewatching this, the best scene in the movie to me is still the scene when they're all talking to each other at the bar. I was thinking, like, I paused the movie for a second because I was like, I think this would have been a great, like, I don't know whether it's like prologue or, you know, when they like tease apart later in the plot. Yeah. Like where they show a scene that's going to occur later in the movie, and if they took that bar scene, cut out like maybe one or two lines that gave away too much plot. Yeah. And with El Diablo, if you hear him monologue the story instead of showing the flashback. Right after the moment when Harley Quinn says Croc is like, he's ugly on the outside too. Yeah. And he says, I'm beautiful, and they have a little laugh. And then I thought they could have like cut and then started back.
I would have cut a little later than you, but I'm on the same wavelength.
I just don't think I would have wanted to see Joel Kinnaman's character because I wanted it to be like, I thought it would have added the effect of, should we trust this guy? You know, because the audience is thinking he's gonna dick over Deadshot regardless. But that's my own little how I thought it could have worked a little better. Well,
yeah, that's the thing for me watching. I don't know what it is about this movie, but both times, and especially the second time I watched it, the whole time you're kind of going, I know it can make this better. Because they have everything they need, I feel like. Even more than Batman v Superman did, because that one kind of had everything it needed, but this one really...
This film's just overstuffed.
This film has everything it needs. It's overstuffed, and then, like, sometimes it shows you that it is the movie you wanted, and then sometimes it's just not. And the thing is, this time, the big problem for me is Enchantress. And that's why I started to wonder about, like, that started distracting me from the movie, because nothing about the way this movie sets up suggests to me that this is a good idea for them to go fight her. And this is supposed to happen after Batman v Superman. It's like, we know there are better people for the job who will clearly come address the sky portal that is destroying a city. The seams come apart, you know? And that's a bummer, because I think it is really fun, and like there are moments that are just cool, and when the movie just chills out, enjoys itself, or, you know, actually lets the Suicide Squad be together for a minute, like those moments come to life, you know? And they make you like them still, you know?
You know?
Oh.
You know? One thing that just kept sticking out to me was like, man, I just really don't get how most of these guys, like the only one that seemed like a necessary person to take on, like, in case like an evil Superman came. Yeah. Because the whole concept was we need to assemble a team that could take on a Superman type. That was her whole ordeal. It was like, we got lucky that Superman was good. And I'm thinking, like, bullets don't do shit to him, so Deadshot's nothing. And then you got Harley Quinn, and I'm like, why is Harley Quinn even considered for the Suicide Squad? What the fuck has she done that has possibly made her, like, she could be a great member of the Suicide Squad? She's just an unhinged crazy woman. Like, she has a baseball bat. And, like, it makes no sense for her to be there. Captain Boomerang
This
is
movie
the
literally
most
treats-
pointless character out of this movie.
Yeah.
He's like, it's weird because Jai Courtney does a great job in the role, but he's so pointless in this movie. El Diablo and Enchantress seem like the only two reasonable ones where I'm like, yeah, send them in to take on superhumans because they're superhuman. You make sense doing this. With the extended edition, did have a few more scenes of Croc. I did notice that, and I did like that. Because before when I saw the original cut, I was like, I just didn't see the point of Croc being there until they had to swim underneath and put the bomb there. But watching this version, I'm like, I did kind of care about Croc a little more. I did like him a little bit more because we just got a few more scenes with him.
Yeah,
but sometimes more is actually less. Like, I'm conflicted about the one very specific, I think it's like the most talked about deleted scene of the movie, is when Harley Quinn, there's so much I don't get about Harley Quinn, and when I watch this movie, I'm like, yeah, Margot Robbie does a great job bringing the animated character to life. Still, though, I'm like, why can she fight? Why can she do all these crazy gymnastic stuff? And then the scene where she is on the motorcycle and then she starts riding the motorcycle. I'm like a fucking action hero. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not even Harley Quinn yet. You're still the Doctor at this point.
Yeah, you're still you're kind of there. But
you're kind of there.
But you haven't trained in intensive combat and stuff.
Like, you're a doctor. This doesn't make sense. Out of all the expositional lines this movie has, I'm like, just feed me one expositional line of yeah, she studied gymnastics when she was 12 or something.
Yeah.
Something to make me go, she's a doctor. I don't get how she could do any of this action hero stuff.
Yeah,
you have a baseball bat. Why are you necessary to this team?
Well, yeah, the only thing I can figure is that, if you get your brain electrocuted, craziness is a superpower.
Yeah, so she can believe she can do this stuff, so she says this. I'm like, all right, I can get on board with that, I guess, but...
No.
But I'm still watching it this makes no sense to me why she's even here.
For this, because this movie doesn't ever it doesn't take the time to establish that stuff. This movie is it's in a hurry all the time, and sometimes being in a hurry is cool, and sometimes it's not, and it never actually stops to address a problem in the room.
Okay, my problem with that scene that actually happens is Jared Leto's whole performance in that scene that just kind of got on my nerves. Something told me, after hearing all this shit he did on set, something kind of made me feel like he took it too seriously to the point where he didn't have any freedom to really just let loose, in a natural, organic way. I felt like he was too in his head about all this stuff, and it kind of shows. I could be wrong. Either way, it just feels planned. Every movement, every line of dialogue he has, every movement he does feels very planned. It doesn't feel organic or improvised or natural. It seems forced.
Again, half the time it seems really forced to me, and half the time, there are moments in there that I think are really cool, and in those moments I think, yeah, this version of the Joker, I know some people can't get over the look and vibe. I don't know, he's a villain. I think it's kind of that Zeph style is kind of a neat way to do that.
It just feels like a two-dimensional performance.
But I feel the impression,
a serious lack of depth.
Yeah, because the impression I get from the way, at least that was covered, and I didn't read tons about it, but I read about, he sent someone a dead pig and condoms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He used condoms, he did all this crazy
He
shit.
hung a 12-year-old girl on set.
I don't know, I feel like maybe he got too into the crazy side of it and not really into making it a real character.
Yeah, in terms of genre splicing, his story felt like a different film. Not just because of his Joker story is really not essential to the whole movie. Other than that, it's the way they shoot his story feels like a different movie. It feels like it's just out of a different tone and style entirely. One thing I thought would have helped this movie is if we felt like we were watching this from some type of perspective. Because right now, I just felt like we were watching everything go on. You know how, for, the first, hour of the movie, they keep, not informing the Suicide Squad of what's going on, but we're in the audience, and, we know most of what's going on. There's a crazy meta-human that Enchantress unleashed because the camera and everything told us already, so we're not even in the shoes of the Suicide Squad.
Explain this to us.
That's what I mean. We're not in the perspective of anyone. And I thought, it would have been interesting if they, teased some of that stuff, but didn't make it clear to us what was going on, and we were in the perspective of the Suicide Squad from things.
Well, I still don't completely grasp the switcheroo where they're really going to save Amanda Waller or something.
Yeah, because the movie kind of starts off when when Enchantress's brother starts fucking up the subway, they say send in Task Force X. They only send in Enchantress. Enchantress, leaves, does her thing. And then they're like, where's everyone else? So they start assembling the rest of the gang. And then they're bringing them over, and we think they're going to take out, they're going there to take out Enchantress and the subway dude. And then they have, and it's actually rescuing Amanda Waller. I was like, when did they change their plans to rescue? Yeah. When was that established? Yeah.
When did she even get into this city?
Is this supposed to be a twist? Why couldn't you just establish it?
And why is it in this building that's giving Harley Joker Harley origin flashbacks? Because I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be in the same room or they were just big circular things that looked like it.
She's just seen things that when she sees the motorcycle on the ground, she just reminds her of the motorcycle thing. Oh, back to that scene though.
Okay, now I get it.
Back to that scene. What I wanted to say was that even though I didn't like that scene, my first words were, "I'm glad that was left out of the movie."
Which one, on the highway? When she does the motorcycle
stunt,
thing?
Yeah. But then when it came to the scene in the Ace Chemical plant, when Harley jumps into the toxic waste and then he jumps in after her, I thought the flashback that I didn't like, I thought because that flashback was there, it actually made that scene more effective. Yeah. Because we had a scene where Joker's just like, oh man, I'm just trying to get the fuck away from you. Just leave me alone. I can't stand you. I could see how from first perspective, he is like, oh, okay, she's gone. Finally, she killed herself. Good.
Yeah.
But then he's like, no, I can't let her die because he really does love her. So I thought that made that effective.
That extra beat, yeah.
That made that effective. Even though I don't like that scene, it still made that scene better,
Well, yeah.
And I would have preferred that in the original cut, if anything.
I enjoyed both cuts of this movie in a way. I did enjoy watching this, but rewatching it now, especially here, nothing they added in really changed the experience of watching it for me. And I know, Batman vs. Superman, I know, they added a bunch of stuff in, and from what I've been told, they at least clarified the plot more. The only benefit I got out of the stuff they added back in was I liked the Suicide Squad better.
Yeah.
When they had those scenes of them all kind of circulating in and out and talking to each other, those
they
actually...
they had that scene in there they extended. They're all going to each other saying, we're planning on breaking out of here, and Deadshot's kind of running this.
Yeah.
But then, so it made more sense when Deadshot was like, wait right here, what the hell's going on? Okay, but real quick, what is the point of turning these human beings who are under her control into these weird Power Rangers villains,
eyeball monster?
Because as they seem to have nothing special other than I think he leaked through something at one point when Harley was in the elevator.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you guys seem very weak actually when you're in this form. It's if Harley Quinn can easily just knock off your whole skull with a baseball bat. You could kill a human being with a baseball bat for sure with one blow. But it's rare where you see a guy's head go flying off from just a baseball bat. And I'm thinking, these creatures seem more fragile and easier to penetrate. Easier to break.
And they set up that scene even by saying, oh, don't engage them. We can't.
Yeah, but what's so threatening about them other than they're in quantity,
And half the Suicide Squad, these guys are just really good at shooting and hitting stuff and happen to be a little crazy. So, it can't be impossible because they're not more strapped up than the military guys are. They just have better,
I felt like the best scene in this movie, except for the bar scene, I really did like that scene where Deadshot gets to use weapons again. Because you see his love for weapons, the way all that plays out before that, the interaction when he's fucking with everyone, and then the scene he has with Joel Kinnaman afterwards. Yeah. That whole scene I thought was really well done, and that was... it's not any different in the extended edition, but I'm like, that's a great scene right there.
Every scene, a lot of the scenes in this movie, to me, and maybe this relates, felt like there was some incentive to get them out in the least lines possible. And in the few scenes where it feels like it's not about the least lines possible, the movie actually starts to come to life, and it actually establishes something that resembles a rhythm that's more than just a trailer.
Exactly.
Because a lot of this movie becomes... It feels like a trailer because you're showing a lot of cool images and they're changing really fast and they all seem vaguely intense and hurried. But only a few of them actually slow down enough to really grip you.
And I couldn't help but find even more nitpick flaws when I was watching this movie. I was thinking, one, Enchantress, the human version, June. I don't really care about Joel Kinnaman getting her back because I don't know June at all.
Yeah.
Other than whenever I see her as June, she's talking about how she doesn't want to be Enchantress and starts crying. And that's about it. That's all I know about. Is that she doesn't like being Enchantress.
People only get so much time to be their own character, and she has to be two. So, those characters, just one's evil and one doesn't want to be. And that's all we know.
But you pointed out something, too. When Enchantress starts to like vanish and like take shit, she does it so easily.
All she had to do was wait for 2 people to fall
Well,
asleep.
yeah, and then just do her thing and then unleash hell. Like, even when she got her brother's, whatever the little statue of her brother was, like, why was it just in, like, Amanda Waller's closet on the shelf?
Yeah.
Why wasn't it, like, locked away in some, like, secret, like, her heart is in, like, a briefcase. And it's so, like, why not put her brother's thing not on the closet somewhere? It's just some item that we don't think has any potential for anything. Actually lock it away in some way. It's things like that bother me. Or when, like, the prison guard, what's his name? Ike Barinholtz?
Ike Barinholtz.
There
you go.
I like Ike Barinholtz. I even like his scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
But it kind of annoyed me when Harley Quinn was, had the thing over her head and she was on the wheelchair. Then he's like, I got something from Joker for you. I'm going to talk super loud about this and give you something pretty large and colorful. And no one's going to suspect a thing that happens right now.
And I'm going to call after you by your first name.
Yeah.
As though I want this information because it's important to me out loud. There's a lot that starts to feel like afterthoughts because to me, like this time watching it, it just struck me. I felt like I was watching something based on a detailed treatment. Because that's about as much as we get out of any scene. So, like, some details are just too big, and you're like, how did nobody notice this?
Yeah.
Like, how did this not get refined? And that's why, like, lots of things start to feel like afterthoughts. Kind of everything to do with Enchantress in this movie just kind of feels like an afterthought that got money dumped all over it. Because she's doing this, like, wiggly CG thing, and all of a sudden the movie shifts. Because, like, when they're climbing the tower in some of those scenes, and, like, building bits are on fire and stuff, like, some of those scenes kind of reminded me of, like, Terminator 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
Just, like, that same timbre. And then they cut to these other scenes, like, with Enchantress, and it just feels, like, really quick and very expensive. They don't really seem to have much personality beyond that. All these things start to feel like they were crammed in for some reason, like, and that's why I can't help but wonder if this movie got, like, severely recut. Because I know they said, like, there's so much Joker that they have, and when they put the footage back into this movie, some people complained that there's not that much more Joker. Yeah. Not that what we got made us feel any better about it, but still, it's like, why would you have all that footage for a character that for this movie that we just saw feels like you could cut the Joker out and I wouldn't care?
My problem with this movie was the Suicide Squad sounds cool and all, just not to take on, like, save the whole fucking planet.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Suicide Squad would have been better to take on, like, smaller villains.
Well, yeah.
Like, more evil that's not about destroying the planet, but, like, assemble them for something still where it's like they feel a need to help out.
And that's your opportunity, and that's why I
make it personal and smaller.
Yeah, and that's why I got, like, David Ayer is theoretically good for a movie like this.
Because that's what he'd be doing, is, like, dealing with these guys, dealing with other badder guys, not dealing with, like, cliche CGI bad guys.
Yeah, and it's like you have this all-powerful Enchantress and her all-powerful brother who are just gonna destroy the world because people don't worship them no more. And then you have these guys who are only equipped to do very physical world stuff. It's like the Joker makes perfect sense. That's why you would need a team with a big guy and a crack shot and a crazy guy and his
Harley
girlfriend.
Quinn. Yeah, that makes sense.
You go after him with these guys, and then you're like, okay, I know why they would need the SWAT, because this is, the SWAT team arguably can't do this. They need the worst of the worst to go get the crime prince of Gotham. Like, that would make an easily more on-the-level story with much more clear rules,
The problem with this film, as I know some people say this with, like, Marvel films, of, like, why didn't the Avengers step in when this shit was going on? Why didn't the Avengers step in? This movie has flashbacks with Batman in it and the Flash in it, and they have access to communicate to these guys for something that is out of the hands of, like, someone like El Diablo, for example. Like, El Diablo would need other people to work with, at least. Like, why don't you call him the Flash or Batman when you can clearly communicate with them for something this crazy?
Yeah, it's like the Flash
shows
up to get you a member of your team.
The mid-credit scene is a post that she has all the Justice League information of everyone.
And that's the thing is,
like, why not call on these guys to save the planet?
And that's what becomes frustrating about this movie, because the second time around, and even with all the added stuff, it never seemed like any of that got really taken into account. The second time watching this movie especially, like, that stuff really started to stick out. It's like, why waste your time with Captain Boomerang? You sent the Flash to get him. You sent Batman to get Deadshot. the only reason you would do that is if you were fighting things that were below their... Like, this is clearly something you need those guys to handle, you know?
Yeah.
And you can't ignore that while you're watching this, so you start to wonder about just why this is all happening. And so much of the movie sort of starts to come apart because...
Like, I feel like someone might justify it saying, like, Amanda Waller wanted to make sure there were people she can control, and because they're criminals and they could, like, plant them and stuff, they can control them.
Not for this mission.
Yeah, this mission, though.
You got lucky.
You need to put that aside for a second and go, the world is about to be destroyed.
Because I really wonder what this movie was supposed to be. Because, like, when we were watching it, I started to get inklings of how it could all fit together with most of the stuff that they have. And if you look at it, like, what David Ayer did, or at least what the Suicide Squad is, like, it's kind of like an army battalion. You've got, like, your fire guy, your demolitions guy, your sniper guy. It's a very down-to-earth kind of villain movie. These are criminals, you know, like metahumans. They're not metahumans.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing I want to comment on that I had more of a problem with the second time I watched this movie was the scene when Joker shows up in the helicopter and Harley Quinn goes and jumps on. Okay, several issues with that. See, at first, it finally makes it clear, like, oh, that's the whole point of Joker's storyline, is he's going to take Harley away. But then my first feeling was, Harley doesn't seem that necessary to do this mission, you know? Like, I know she's the one who played dumb and then cut open the Enchantress's, chest and took out her heart. I was like, I don't think they thought Harley at all. Like, there was nothing leading to that moment where we're thinking about the mission at hand where I was like, this is a bummer. Harley's essential to finish this. They can't do this without her.
Well, that's the problem with the villain in this movie, is that every upper hand they get over her is, like, out of a really lucky break. Like, everyone's got a lucky chance, and, like, thank goodness they were able to get this,
And then even when even then when Amanda Waller's telling Will Smith to, like, shoot her.
Yeah.
I give you a contract, your freedom, and all this stuff. I'm thinking, like, you don't need Deadshot right now.
Yeah, you
got a bunch of other soldiers who can easily take her out.
She's like, she's doing aerial dance, like she's just messing
just
around on the ropes,
on the wire, on the rope, just like.
Theoretically, you should tell them to do it
tell
first.
Like 5 of your men to try to shoot her. I'm sure one of them will get her.
Yeah, and I don't know why anybody keeps trying to take a chopper in this movie.
I'm like, they're all just getting shot down.
Yeah, it's like nobody cares about crashing a helicopter into a building. But it's
I can't stand the finale though, man. Like when they all become like when El Diablo starts spitting family lines, and even Harley Quinn's like, "You met my friend," like that kind of shit. I'm like, nothing has led to you guys. There's nothing that justifies that line of dialogue there, like this level of emotion or something. You guys haven't been put in situations where we really looked out for each other. Like you're all being forced into this, and you guys have all been in survival mode this whole time, but not like we need to band together. They haven't had a single moment like that, and they make them out to be like total super, like major good guys in the end.
Yeah, it's really.
And you spend so much of the film trying to make us feel like they're bad guys, when I'm like, you haven't though.
Yeah, like I don't know, you're all you only do bad things, it seems like, to bad people or people that like. None of them do anything dastardly ever, and they all seem to have like some kind of moral compass.
Yeah, exactly.
They all just want to be free or something. I didn't get the whole thing about like Will Smith, like, I don't know what love is, and I know they tried to play that. I forgot they tried to play that note at the end again, where he like struggles to say it to his daughter, and I just never once believed that. This guy clearly cares about his daughter.
You're all about your daughter, motherfucker. Don't say that shit to her. Like that line in the. Yeah, that line when he's like, men like me after many people. Like, dude, you're saying this with a genuine smile and you're relaxed and connecting with a girl about not knowing love. And it's like this whole concept of you is revolved around you wanting to be back with your daughter.
I feel like there's a version of that line that could work somehow if you like drafted it 4 more times, but it's like, it's just directly in contrast with every way he behaves. Yeah. Like even the people he kills, he establishes like, I don't kill women or children, like I got a very strict code. These are all pretty bad guys to begin with. So like, even in regular people morality, at least a couple folks will be like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
You gotta make money. And he's the one who keeps saying we're the bad guys, and I'm like, I don't. Killer Croc seems like he just wants to chill out in the sewer and eat people. That's bad. Captain Boomerang seems like he should just be in a regular jail.
Yeah, exactly.
El Diablo is in kind of regular jail.
It does seem like he just belongs. Yeah. Well, no, they kept El Diablo in that water tank.
He should be on that space prison from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, he should be in a place like that,
Yeah.
where just, like, everyone's a kooky character. He has a boomerang that, like, after a certain point in the movie where I couldn't tell if this was ever the original intent, like, his boomerang can fly and take videos of stuff. He just randomly rejoins the Suicide Squad. I still am kind of bugged by that. I feel like he left the movie
It's
for
a real
while.
bummer because Jai Courtney's great.
And
It's
I
just
like-
he's so not essential to the movie.
And it's like, it's the one
Like-
time I've been really enthused about him since, like, Jack Reacher.
It's really strange how he's one of the great performances of the movie,
Yeah.
yet you're like totally unessential to anything that goes on in this film, though.
Nothing feels essential past a certain point. Deadshot keeps the story going because you like Deadshot. I like Will Smith. I like his Deadshot. He's cool. The movie gives me some time to get to know him. But like everybody else, at a certain point, feels completely expendable, and nobody feels at peril because like they never pay off. Amanda Waller gets out of that one.
Yeah.
And they never pay off. Why Harley just kind of is like, I guess I'll just rejoin these people I suddenly love.
Yeah.
Like all these things happen and you just have no idea why at a certain point. Like everything feels like it happens because. It's hard to watch that again.
Now, for you DC fans out there who've just watched this whole video, you're probably going to say stuff like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And then you're going to find like one or two things out of like the 40 things we talked about and then try to harp on us about it. If you can respond and debunk all the things we said, then I'll take your comment into consideration.
At the end of the day, look, I enjoy Suicide Squad. I enjoy things about it. I think there's some moments of greatness in it, but I also think it's still kind of a mess.
Reuters TV,
That's the bottom
subscribe
line.
to The Real Rejects. John is Reasons to Jerry on Twitter and Instagram. He's a social media manager of Facebook of The Bloomhouse and The Real
Blumhouse,
Rejects.
Real Rejects.
And shout out to Cesar Romero. I love your dressing. And your pizza.